Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your life feels heavy. Not because something terrible happened yesterday, but because deep inside, you feel stuck. You work hard, you try to stay positive, you hope things will change, yet somehow the same problems keep coming back. Money worries return. Relationships feel strained. Dreams feel distant. Many people live their entire lives in this quiet frustration, never knowing that something powerful has been shaping their reality all along. This story begins with a simple idea. An idea so quiet, yet so strong, that once you truly understand it, your life can never feel the same again. The idea is this: your thoughts are not harmless. They are not just words floating in your mind. They are creative forces. Every thought you think sends a message into the world. And the world, in its own mysterious way, listens. For a long time, this knowledge was hidden. Passed quietly from teacher to student. Whispered among philosophers. Protected by those who understood its power. It was not written loudly in history books. It lived in silence, waiting for the right moment to return. That knowledge is what people now call the secret. At the heart of this story is a woman searching for answers. She is not famous. She is not rich. She is simply curious. Her life, like many others, feels broken into pieces. She watches people struggle, including herself, and asks a question that changes everything. Why do some people seem lucky wherever they go, while others fight every step of the way? This question opens a door. As she searches, she begins to notice a pattern. People who speak about abundance seem to attract opportunities. People who focus on fear seem to invite more fear. People who expect failure often meet it right at the door. At first, this feels like coincidence. But the pattern keeps repeating again and again, until coincidence no longer makes sense. She learns that the mind works like a magnet. Whatever you hold in your mind, whatever you feel deeply, whatever you expect to happen, you begin to pull toward yourself. Not instantly. Not magically. But gradually, naturally, almost quietly. Think about a radio. You do not hear every station at once. You only hear the one you are tuned into. In the same way, your mind tunes into experiences that match its dominant thoughts. If your thoughts are filled with worry, you notice problems everywhere. If your thoughts are filled with gratitude, you begin to notice opportunities you once ignored. This is not about pretending life is perfect. It is about understanding that your inner world shapes your outer world. The woman learned something else that feels uncomfortable at first. Responsibility. If thoughts create reality, then blaming the world becomes useless. Complaining loses its power. Victimhood slowly fades. This realization can feel heavy because it means you are not powerless. But it is also freeing because it means change begins with you. Your life is not happening to you. It is responding to you. As the story continues, teachers from different times and backgrounds seem to speak the same language. A philosopher talks about imagination as the greatest tool of creation. A spiritual teacher explains that gratitude opens doors the mind cannot force open. A successful business leader describes how belief came before achievement, always different voices. Same truth, the secret is not about wishing. It is not about hoping without action. It is about alignment. When your thoughts, emotions, and expectations move in the same direction, your actions follow naturally. And when your actions follow naturally, results begin to appear. The woman experiments with this idea in small ways. She begins to notice her inner dialogue. When fear appears, she does not fight it. She gently replaces it. When doubt whispers, she does not argue. She chooses a different story. Slowly, something shifts. Her mood changes first. Then her reactions change. Then her choices change. And finally, her circumstances begin to change, not overnight. Not like a movie, but in a way that feels real. She realizes that most people live on autopilot. They repeat the same thoughts every day. They expect the same outcomes. And then they wonder why nothing changes. The secret is not hidden because it is complicated. It is hidden because it requires awareness of what you are thinking when no one is listening, awareness of what you feel when things do not go your way, awareness of the story you tell yourself about who you are and what you deserve. This is where the real work begins, because once you see this pattern, you cannot unsee it. Every complaint becomes a choice. Every fear becomes a signal. Every hopeful thought becomes a seed. The secret does not promise a perfect life. It promises understanding. And understanding gives you something far more powerful than luck. It gives you direction. Once you become aware of your thoughts, something interesting happens. You start noticing how often your mind returns to old habits. Even when you want change, the past has a strong voice. It reminds you of what went wrong. It warns you about disappointment. It tries to protect you by keeping everything familiar. The woman in our story experiences this too. At first, she feels excited. She imagines a better life. She feels hopeful. But then, reality pushes back. Bills still arrive. People still disappoint her. Old fears return quietly, almost politely, as if asking permission to stay. This is where many people stop. They think the idea does not work. They say it is unrealistic. They return to their old way of thinking because it feels safer. But the woman does something different. She realizes that the mind needs training, just like the body. You do not walk into a gym once and expect strength. You return again and again. She learns that belief is not created by force. It is created by repetition. Every day, she chooses her thoughts more carefully. Not perfectly. Just gently. When she notices herself expecting the worst, she pauses. She asks herself a quiet question. What if this works out? What if something good is already on its way? At first, this feels uncomfortable. Almost dishonest. But slowly, her emotional response changes. Her body relaxes. Her breath deepens. Hope begins to feel normal instead of risky. The secret teaches that feeling is the language of creation. Thoughts are important, but emotions are stronger. When you feel something deeply, your mind accepts it as truth. That is why fear creates powerful experiences. Fear feels real. But gratitude feels real too. Joy feels real. Confidence feels real, so she begins practicing gratitude. Even when nothing looks perfect, she feels grateful for small moments. A calm morning. A kind conversation. A problem that did not grow worse. Gratitude shifts her attention, and attention shifts her reality. She notices more good things because she expects them. And because she notices them, she feels better. And because she feels better, she thinks differently. This is how change begins, not with dramatic events, but with subtle shifts inside. Another lesson appears quietly. Desire is not wrong. Wanting more does not make you selfish. Wanting growth is natural. The problem is not desire. The problem is resistance. Resistance sounds like doubt. It sounds like old stories. It sounds like other people's opinions living rent-free in your mind. The secret explains that you do not need to fight resistance. You simply need to stop feeding it. Where attention goes, energy flows. The woman notices that when she stops complaining, life does not become silent. It becomes clearer. She sees solutions she once ignored. She hears ideas she once dismissed. She meets people who reflect her new mindset. This feels like coincidence, but it happens too often to ignore. She also learns patience. The secret does not promise instant results. It promises alignment. When your inner world changes, your outer world follows, but it moves at its own pace. Seeds need time. Roots grow underground before anything appears above the surface. Many people give up during this invisible phase, but she keeps going. She visualizes not to escape reality, but to shape her expectations. She imagines herself calm during difficult conversations. She imagines confidence before important decisions. When the moment arrives, her body recognizes the feeling. She has already been there in her mind. Life begins to respond differently. Problems still exist, but they no longer define her. Challenges feel temporary instead of permanent. Failure feels like feedback instead of judgment. This shift changes everything. The secret also teaches something deeply important. You cannot control everything, but you can always control your response. And your response shapes what comes next. This understanding gives her peace. She no longer waits for permission to feel happy. She no longer delays gratitude until life improves. She becomes grateful now. She feels successful now. She feels calm now. And strangely, life begins to match her inner state. The story does not end with perfection. It ends with empowerment. The woman realizes that the secret was never outside her. It was always within her awareness. It was hidden behind distraction, fear, and unconscious habits. Once seen, it becomes impossible to ignore. Your thoughts matter, your feelings matter, the story you tell yourself matters. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you are shaping your future with your inner dialogue. You are choosing what to expect. An expectation is a powerful force. The secret is not magic. It is understanding, and understanding changes everything. I share stories like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.